Green Valley was a peaceful little town where everyone knew everyone. The houses were small, streets were quiet, and most people lived simple lives. At the end of Oak Street stood an old mansion that had been empty for years. Its windows were dusty, its garden were overgrown, and nobody expected everyone to live there again. Then, one Monday morning, a large black car stopped outside the mansion. The entire neighborhood became curious. A tall, elderly man stepped out. He wasn't wearing an expensive suit or surrounded by bodyguards. Instead, he wore a simple jacket and carried a small suitcase. His name was Daniel Carter. Within hours, rumors spread through the neighborhood. Some people said he was a businessman, others claimed he owned companies around the world. By evening, the most exciting rumor had reached everyone. The new neighbor was a billionaire. 14-year-old Ryan lived in the house next door. Unlike most people, Ryan wasn't impressed by the expensive car. He was fascinated by the man himself. How could someone become a billionaire? Where had he started? What did he know that ordinary people didn't? Ryan had always dreamed about becoming successful. He wanted to create something important and make his family proud. But he had one weakness: he wanted everyone quickly. Whenever he started a new project, he expected immediate results. If something became difficult, he usually lost interest. The arrival of Daniel would slowly change that. The next morning, Ryan saw Daniel working in the garden. This surprised him. The billionaire wasn't sitting inside a luxurious room, he wasn't talking on the phone or working with important business people. He was planting flowers. Ryan watched from a distance until Daniel noticed him. Daniel invited him into the garden. Ryan explained that he wanted to know how a successful people become successful. Daniel didn't give him a complicated business lesson. Instead, he handed him a small pocket of seeds. He asked Ryan to plant them. Ryan was confused, but he followed the instructions. When he finished, Daniel explained the first lesson. A seed does not become a tree overnight. It needs water, sunlight, protection, and time. Dreams work the same way. Ryan understood the idea, but he didn't realize how important it would become. Daniel told him that people often look at successful individuals and only see the final result. They don't see the years of learning, failure, patience, and hard work that came before it. That morning, Ryan learned his important lesson: never judge your future by today's result. Ryan began visiting Daniel's regularly. He discovered that Daniel had not born rich. As a child, Daniel's family had very little money. He had worked small jobs, studied whenever he could, and taught himself about computers and business. His first business wasn't impressive. It was a tiny computer repair shop. Daniel repaired old computers for people who couldn't afford new ones. At first, he barely earned enough to continue. Some days nobody came, some customers complained, some repairs went wrong. Daniel made mistakes and lost money, but he kept learning. Instead of asking why he wasn't successful yet, he asked what he could improve. That difference changed everything. Eventually, Daniel noticed that many small businesses had the same problem. They needed affordable technology but couldn't afford expensive systems. He began creating simple software tools for them. His small business grew. Then another business appeared, then another. Years later, those small beginnings had developed into a large technology company. Daniel had eventually built several successful businesses and invested in education, technology, and renewable energies. But he never forgot the tiny repair shop where everything began. Inspired by Daniel, Ryan began looking around his own school for problems that could be solved. He noticed something simple. Students threw away large amounts of paper every day. Many pages had only been used on one side. Ryan realized that those pages could be collected and turned into simple notebooks. It wasn't a huge business idea, it wasn't revolutionary technology, but it was useful. Ryan gathered several classmates and started collecting unused paper. They created the first 20 recycled notebooks. They were excited. Unfortunately, almost nobody wanted to buy them. Only 2 notebooks were sold. Ryan felt embarrassed. His first thought was to quit, but Daniel encouraged him to look at the situation differently. Instead of seeing the two sales as the proof that the project had failed, Ryan began asking why the other students hadn't bought the notebooks. The answers were useful. Some students disliked the design, others wanted larger notebooks, some wanted drawing pagings, others wanted some more pages. Ryan realized that failure could provide information. He and his team improved their notebooks. They created better covers, different sizes, drawing pages, and personalized designs. The next time they sold them, the results were much better. Ryan has discovered another important lesson. Failure is not always the opposite of success, sometimes it is part of the success. After several months, Ryan's project became popular at school. The principal noticed the students' work and invited them to participate in a district level exhibition. Schools from different areas would attend. There would be science projects, technology inventions, business ideas, and environmental projects. Ryan became nervous. Many teams had expensive equipment and professional looking displays. His project was based on recycled paper. For a moment, he wondered whether his idea was too simple. Daniel reminded him that the purpose of the competition was not to improve that he was better than everyone else. The real competition was with the person he had been yesterday. Ryan changed his mindset. Instead of worrying about winning, he focused on explaining his idea clearly. At the exhibition, the judges asked difficult questions. Ryan explained the problem, the solution, the improvements they had made, and how the project helped reduce waste. When the results were announced, Ryan's team won first place. The trophy felt wonderful, but Daniel reminded him that the trophy was not the most important thing. The real achievement was everything Ryan had learned while trying. One evening, Ryan asked Daniel about his biggest failure. Daniel told him about a company he had started many years earlier. He had spent a large amount of money developing a product that has believed people would love, but customers didn't want it. The company lost money. Daniel had to close the project. For the first time, Ryan realized that even billionaires could experience major failures. The difference was how they respond. Daniel didn't spend years regretting the decision. He studied what had gone wrong. He discovered that he had created a product based on what he thought people wanted rather than they could actually needed. That mistake changed the way he approached business forever. From then on, he listened carefully to customers before creating new products. His biggest failure became one of the most valuable lessons. Ryan had always believed that becoming rich meant buying expensive houses, cars, clothes, and other luxurious. Daniel had a different view. He believed that money was a tool. It could provide comfort, security, and opportunities. But wealth became truly meaningful when it was used to create something valuable. Daniel invested in schools. He supported young investors. He helped small businesses. He funded technology projects that could benefit communities. He believed that creating opportunities for others was more valuable than simply collecting possessions. Ryan began to understand that success wasn't only about how much someone had, it was also about what they had with that money. One day, Ryan noticed that some younger students were struggling with their studies. He remembered how much he had received from older students. An idea appeared. He created a student study club. Older students volunteered to help younger students with difficult subjects. At first, only 7 students joined, then 20, then 50. The project grew naturally because students found it useful. There was no expensive buildings, no complicated technology. It was simply connected those students who know something with students who wanted to learn it. The project taught Ryan another lesson. You don't need to be rich or powerful to make a difference. Sometimes all you need is an idea and the courage to begin. One summer evening, a powerful storm hit Green Valley. Trees fell across roads, several houses were damaged. One summer evening, a powerful storm hit Green Valley. Trees fell across roads, several houses were damaged, the schools suffered serious damage. The next morning, the entire community gathered. Everyone wanted to help, but nobody knew where to begin. Ryan remembered what Daniel had taught him. When a problem seems too large, don't focus on everything at once. Start with one small part. Ryan organized students to clean the school courtyard. Parents joined, teachers joined, shopkeepers bought tools and supplies. Local workers volunteered their time. What began as a small student effort became a community project. Within several weeks, the school has repaired. Ryan realized something powerful. Leadership wasn't always about giving orders. Sometimes leadership meant taking the first step so that others could follow. A year later, Ryan received an invitation to participate in a major youth business program in another city. It was an exciting opportunity. At the same time, he had promised to lead a community project at his school. He had to choose. Ryan spent several days thinking about the decision. Eventually, he realized something important. Not every opportunity has to be accepted. Sometimes success means knowing what matters most. He chose to keep his promise to his community. The decision was difficult, but never regretted it. Unexpectedly, his community project attracted attention. The organizers of the youth program later learned about his work and invited him to participate in another event. Ryan learned that doing the right thing didn't always close doors, sometimes it opened different doors. Several years passed. Ryan continued studying and developing new ideas. Then one afternoon, Daniel told him that he was leaving Green Valley. Daniel had accepted a new opportunity in another city. Ryan was sad. Daniel had become more than just a neighbor. He had become a mentor who had taught Ryan how to think differently. Before leaving, Daniel gave Ryan the seed they had planted together years earlier. Ryan had forgotten about it. Daniel had kept it as a reminder. The seed represented everything Ryan had learned. Small beginnings could become great things. Progress required patience, mistakes could become lessons, and success was built through consistent efforts. Daniel told Ryan that he had no longer needed someone to tell him what to do. He had learned how to find his own answers. Many years passed. Ryan became a successful entrepreneur. His recycled notebooks project eventually developed into a larger organization that created affordable educational products. He started companies. He invested in educations. He supported young people with ideas. He helped build libraries and learning centers. But despite his success, Ryan remained humble. He never forgot where he had started. One day he returned to Green Valley. The old mansion next door had changed. It was no longer Daniel's private home. Daniel had turned it into a learning center before leaving. Inside were classrooms, computers, books, and spaces where young people could develop their ideas. Ryan walked through the building with a smile. He realized that Daniel's greatest achievement wasn't becoming a billionaire, it was helping the people become capable of building their own futures. One morning, a young boy arrived at Ryan's house. He had heard about Ryan's success and wanted to know how he could become successful too. Ryan remembered himself at 14. He remembered the questions he had asked Daniel. He remembered the seed. Instead of giving the boy a long speech, Ryan took him to his garden. He gave him a small seed. The boy planted it. Then Ryan told him the lesson Daniel had once taught him. The seed would need water, sunlight, care, patience, and time. So would his dreams. The boy looked at the tiny seed. It didn't look impressive. It was small and ordinary. But Ryan knew that something powerful could grow from something so small. People often believe successful people have a secret formula. They imagine that billionaires know something everyone else doesn't. But Ryan had learned that success wasn't really a secret. It was a collection of simple habits practiced for a long time. Learn something every day, work even when motivation disappears. Don't be afraid of mistakes. Listen to people, solve the real problems, keep improving, help others, stay patient, and most importantly, begin the hardest part of any dream is often the first step. People wait until they have enough money, enough knowledge, enough confidence, enough experience. But most successful journeys didn't begin when someone feels completely ready. They begin when someone decides to try. Years later, people in Green Valley still talked about Daniel Carter. They remember the mysterious billionaire who had moved into an old mansion. But Ryan remembered something different. He remembered a man planting seeds, a man who believed that wealth was less important than value, a man who treated failure as education, a man who understood that success was not about appearing successful, it was about becoming useful. And most importantly, Daniel had taught Ryan that a person's future wasn't decided by where they started, it was shaped by what they did next. Ryan looked at the young boy standing beside the garden. The boy was staring at the seed. Ryan smiled. The story was beginning again. A new dream had been planted. A new journey was about to begin. And perhaps, years from now, another young person would look back and remember the same lesson. You don't have to start big, you just have to start. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to keep improving. You don't have to know the entire path, you only need the courage to take the next step. The sun rose over Green Valley. The garden slowly filled with light, and beneath the soil, a tiny seed waited patiently. It was not a tree yet, it was not even a plant, but it had something every great achievement needs at the beginning, potential, and that was enough.